Hey guys, Pete Scartabello here. I thought I would make some new samples today. I've had this idea for a long time. It involves electric guitar, so I'll show you what that is in a second. But I also wanted to mention that if you become a patron, you'll have access to all the sample libraries I create in both Logic and Kontakt formats. Yeah, it's something to think about. So the sample involves, I'll talk a little bit about it now, then I'll show you. It involves using a metal slide and going back and forth, creating friction, and it kind of allows the strings to sing without plucking them, so it gives you kind of like a string bowing sound almost, but it's different than an E-bow, if you know that sound. So because you hear the more friction, there's more like noise involved. So I'm thinking it could be cool for like sound design stuff and creating pads, so that's kind of the goal with this. But anyway, yeah, let's get started, and I'll show you, I'm going to show you the setup first, and then yeah, we'll get started. So this is my trusty Kramer guitar. So it's just 2 humbuckers, and I have a blend. These are just volume for each pickup, and this switch doesn't really do anything actually. So for this, I'm going to use the bridge pickup, because if you're up here, it's going to be too close to where I'm getting like the friction. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. For the amp, I have this PV Classic 20, so it's 20 watt tube amp, and I have like an overdrive setting, and I have the mid is actually scooped a little bit. I could show you the settings of that, but it's nothing major. It's just a tiny bit of overdrive, so I get the volume knob up a little. So the mic I'm going to use is a Royer R121 ribbon mic. Yeah, I just this like hanging mic trick that we've all used. But this is kind of where I want it anyway. I want it right against the speaker. So facing that way. So right about there is fine. So it's sort of, the speaker is right in the center of this, so it's a little offset. So it's kind of like between the middle and the side of the cone. So it's going to get a little more treble because we're closer to the center of the cone. Okay, so the way I have this tuned is kind of like a drone tuning. In Indian music, they have a tempura. It's like that. So it's D, D, A, D, another A, another A, and a D. So it's that kind of thing. Okay, so I'm going to do like 30 seconds to a minute on each note. And basically we're going to start with the 3 high strings. So that's going to be D, and then we're going to go down 12 notes there, all the way down to the low D sharp. Okay, starting on D, here we go. Top 3 strings. So I'm going to mute these other 3. we'll probably fade it out. Okay, and then we go down to the next one. Now the interesting thing is that at certain nodal points we'll get the overtones happening. So we're going to get harmonics, like here, here. So that's kind of cool about it. Alright, so the next one is a D flat or C sharp. Here we go. Okay, here are the last couple of ones here. It's going to be F sharp. Okay, F. To vary the rhythm a little, just make it interesting. E. Here we go. Okay, E flat or D sharp. Okay, now we're going to do the low octave there of the guitar. That's fine. D flat or C sharp. C sharp, here we go. So when I say C sharp, there's a lot of other stuff happening, but sort of. Okay, C. Okay, I'll show you the last few on the low strings here. F sharp, here we go. Okay, F. E. E flat. Okay, so the first thing I did was I took notes, put markers here for the strings, for the notes. frets or whatever. And I split it up into strings 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6. So I haven't edited these yet, so we're going to get to that. But I just wanted to show you. So I did this so I can keep track of what the notes are. As far as the ranges go, this is let me see. C3. C3 is middle C. So it used to be C4. I don't know. I didn't get the memo on when they changed this, but anyway. So what I want to do first is do a little EQing, and then we're going to do some processing too. I'm going to have some reverb that I'm going to bake into the samples. I mean, I was thinking about keeping it dry and then people can mess with it whatever way they want, but I think part of the sound that I'm envisioning has some reverb, so I'm just going to do that. But first thing, I want to look at the EQ of this. So let's see. So we got a lot of stuff happening, like around 1 to 3K. So I might want to take some of that out here, but not too much, because that's sort of where our sound is too. I mean, as far as like the timbre of this thing. So hold on, let me just let's solo that. And let's see, let's make sure. Oops. Yeah, so then that's happening sort of all over. Yeah, so I'm gonna sort of take that down a little here. EQ that. Just kind of soften it a little. What the heck's going on here? Yeah, you can hear that. So without it, with it, so just sort of taking a little bit away, but not too much. Yeah, put that on 5 actually. That's good for now. That's a good starting place. I mean, I could change that as we go, but so that's for that one. Let's check out the other. But before I do that though, let me look at some other things here. So obviously we can cut some of these lows out. So we're going to create like a low cut here. Yeah, I like some of this stuff, so. But we don't need all this stuff. I'm gonna cut around like 250. Because we have the low strings too, so this is for the highs, this is fine. I don't know what this stuff is happening here, but that's okay though. I think that's good for now. So let's check out the lower strings now. Curious about these. We'll check it out for this. Why did this? Okay. Kind of have the same thing happening here too. So Now I want to see what's happening. Actually, let me see what's happening in the bass here. Especially when we get to these lower ones here. Let me go down to some of these. Really like the sound of this one. Some interesting overtones here. I mean, there's not much down here. I'm not gonna. So let's see where we're going to create a low cut. But I don't want to take away too much here. See. Alright, so I'm going to cut it around 50. So we don't lose this stuff. Okay, so that's good. So that's the first step. We're going to edit to, but that's not that exciting. So, here's what I'm thinking for the processing. I'm going to use the Valhalla, a vintage reverb, to create a big hall. That's going to do two things. It's going to take away that rhythm that I had there, because I don't want it to be super rhythmic. I want it to be more of a pad. But I don't mind that motion either, but I think the reverb will help smooth that out. But also it's going to add a nice like room to it, or hall, like a nice ambience. So we're going to do a send here. Bring it up to like 8 for now. Okay. I also like the modulation that the Valhalla does. So I'm going to leave that where it is. Sometimes I turn that down, but for this. But I wanted this really long. I want this like at 9, believe it or not. Pre-delay. To create that distance, I'm gonna keep this pretty low. Maybe 0. I'm gonna turn this up. That's nice, actually. Let me go all the way up with this. Actually, I want to hear what the delay's doing. I mean, the reverb's doing. So I'm going to do like a pre-fader. That way I can mute the dry signal. Okay, so if I turn this down, we're going to just hear the wet signal. So let's talk about EQing this wet signal. Let's take a look at it. That's important. I mean, you should always EQ your reverb to suit what you're going for. Roll off some of this. Let me just try something here. Try high cut. Because we have enough of those highs. So we don't need a lot of that. Make this a little steeper here. Oops. Yeah, I like that. Let's bring this back. That's nice. Let's test it out on these lower ones. Fader. Yeah, that's really nice actually. Okay. So I'm happy with that. I think now we just have to the only other thing we could do is some compression. I'm going to shut this reverb off for a second. So for compression, we don't need something super aggressive for this because it's a slow attack. So I might use like the 3A or the 2A and then see where that actually, let me or the Fairchild even, which is called the Puig child, John Joseph Puig child. So let's check that out. So with this, it's just sort of threshold, gain, pretty straightforward here. Time constant, which is like the attack. Let's get it happening here. Put this in the middle, sort of. I don't want to do too much. Smoothing it out a little. Actually, before I forget, I wanted to create an octave below this one too. So we're going to do some pitch shifting. Okay, so you're probably wondering why I just don't pitch shift in the sampler. Well, the reason is because I don't want to pitch shift the reverb, because we're baking in that reverb sound. So I created another track here. Copy this. Now with Logic you have to convert to new audio file here. So we'll say pitch shifted. Oops. Shifted, whatever. So now I go into this and do a pitch shift, which is alright, so negative 1200 cents. But we want to use the classic mode. But we don't want to, because we don't want to change. We don't want to time compress it. So yeah, it's not time compressing. All right, so here we go. Okay, so let's see what it did here. And obviously the marking's going to be a little off now. Oh, that's really good. Okay. Giving away all my secrets. Okay, so the next step, let me open up this a little, is to, so I might leave the longer lengths with these, why not? So we're gonna have to trim those, but so let's start editing here. So I'm gonna zoom in a little more here. So we're just editing the attack and the decay. Bring this all the way up. So obviously I don't want that first hit there. Spread this out. So I'll fade in here. It depends how long we want this fade. Let me saw this. I would say like half a second or so. In fact, yeah. Let's see what this sounds like. Might be too long. No, actually, that's perfect. And let's check out the end now. Actually, it wasn't bad though. Kind of like that natural fade. It's fine. But actually, let me turn the reverb off just for now so we can get. See, now I heard some stuff there. Let me get maybe a little longer. That's fine. Okay, let's go to the next one. So 2 seconds would be kind of natural swell there. It's good. Let's hear this end here. Some weird stuff happening like that. So see where it kind of goes to open strings there. I want to get rid of that. So yeah, let's start fading around here. Fade around here. That's fine. Hear it with the reverb. So it's pretty forgiving with that reverb. Thinking maybe the reverb is a little too long. Let me lower that. I'll put it like around. I still want it kind of long, but yeah, that's nice. Around 8. Intonation's a little weird too, but so what? These are more. And as far as like the notes I have listed, well, that's another thing. Like you may be hearing like the G. There's actually a G and a D below it for this. But if you know anything about the hierarchy of intervals, if there's a D and a G together, you're going to perceive a G because of the fifth, because of the overtone series. So that's why that's happening like that. But I mean, there's so many different overtones too, as far as like the timbre of this thing, that it's more, it has a lot of noise elements, which I think is cool. So it's more, you know, you can use it for harmonies and things, but it's probably going to be more of like a octave kind of pad thing. I mean, I probably too many of these things together would be pretty dense. So, but that could be cool too, you know. All right, again, sidetrack. All right. Okay, I'm running out of steam a little bit. All right, let's do these lower samples here. These sound really cool, the pitch shifted ones. I might leave this in. Really like that. Yeah. So yeah, check it out with the reverb. These are really nice. I might have this sci-fi movie coming up next year, so this will be good for that. I think I can use it. I often create new samples for upcoming projects just to kind of gives you some inspiration and takes you in different directions that you wouldn't normally go in, probably. Alright, anyway. Get mesmerized by that. So let's check out the ending of this one. Actually, now that I think of it, well, I could just take these other ones and pitch shift them now that they're edited. Yeah, you know that's what I'm gonna do, I think. So let me get rid of this. So what I'm gonna do is copy these, bring them down. Let me join these first, and then once we do that, then we'll pitch shift it. Okay, so then we'll get in here. So go to functions, time and pitch, classic, that's good. This is all the same, so just process it. Psyched about these. I hope I can share them with you guys. So if you become a patron on Patreon, then you can get access to these. So that's something to think about. Since I'm putting all this time in. Curious what this looks like on the EQ. That's the thing, we may not want to filter out some of these. Well, I think going below 50 is okay. I might put this filter more at like 30. Okay, so now what we have to do is populate the sampler. But actually, before I do that, I need to do this. Need to bounce it down. So I decided we're going to go dry with the samples. So that way you have more control. More control with it. So let's start with the higher samples. So we said that was like D, so D3. So what I do is I'll bring them into this folder here. Keep them all in the same folder. So let's export as audio file. Now this gives you the option, but we don't want to bypass the effects plugins, so we want to use the effects. So I'll leave that on. Because we have the compressor and the EQ there. So D3. Guitar sample. And then we're going to go through all those like that. So the next one will be C sharp 3. Okay, so then what you do is, it's easy. So you just create the, we're going to do it with the EXS sampler today, but like I said, I'll make it available for contact to, if people are interested in that, if you want to become a patron. So let's create a new instrument track, and then open up the EXS, and then we say edit. So what I do is drag it. We'll go by name because we want it to be in order. The problem with that is it's going to give us this. So let's go date actually. And we're going to have to check these, but make sure they're mapped out. Oh, God. So it starts at D sharp 0. So what I do is I drag all these. So start note, you say D sharp 0. Continuous zones. Okay, so all that looks good, right? Now this should be good, but let's make sure they're all in order here. Alright, so they're one shot. We don't want that. Because we want to be able to hold it and then release it. So shut all those off. So now when you hit it, so I'm just checking all these. So a couple things though before, let's go, this looks good. Let's save it. Guitar friction, whatever. Now let's look at some stuff in here though. We want a little decay when we release the note, but you know, you guys can adjust that to wherever you want. But so for that, I mean rather a release rather, so attack is fine because I kind of, it's gonna always start at the beginning, and that's, but let's just turn the release up. So see it kind of, so just maybe like half a second. A little more. But all the samplers have this, so I think if you do it in if we do it in contact, it'd be the same thing. And that's pretty much it, but let's send it out to the reverb. 0. So this is pretty great. I think this is really useful. And the sounds kind of evolve, so that's what's cool about it, because we did long samples. And you could also put a delay on it too, which is a whole other thing. But you could also like adjust the volume of it a little. It's at -6 dB, so bring it up to 0. That's better. Okay, I had a little snafu. I had to. It wasn't exporting the fade in and fade out information, so I had to bounce in place or whatever, and then re-export. But that's fine. So now I have them all in here, and yeah, like I said, I'm doing not one shot, but excuse me. So we put like we increase the release here to like about a second. And I have it running through the Valhalla. Step a little for you guys. So it's really useful, I think. So right now the range is between, it's a 2-octave range about. But if you want, you could do a pitch shift and get that other octave up top. But you know, this is nice because it stays within the guitar range. Yeah, so I'm really liking this. So okay, guys, that's it for today. Yeah, if you want to become a patron, I'll give you access to all these samples, plus the other library I did, which was that spring instrument. So yeah, I'm going to make a version of this for Contact too. So okay. Yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks a lot. Bye.